sitting in my kitchen, watching through the window as the white sedan with government plates pulls into Melissa's driveway. My coffee is still warm in my hands. My heart is steady. I've been waiting for this moment for 6 months. In my first life, I died when I was 34 years old. Melissa killed me.
How did it go?
Not with her hands.
Oh my
She was too smart for that.
How was the
She killed me with paperwork, with
How many
lawyer
times
fees
did
I
the
couldn't
MacBook catch
afford,
fire? Dude,
with a
it was
custody
on
battle
the
that drained
verge.
every penny I had and left me hollow. She killed me by stealing my husband, then stealing my children, then standing in court with her hand on his arm while the judge awarded them full custody because I'd become unstable. I became unstable because she'd systematically destroyed everything I had. The last thing I remembered before dying was my car wrapping around a telephone pole on a rainy night, driving home from my third job, exhausted and broken and alone. My kids, Emma and Jake, hadn't spoken to me in 2 months. Melissa had convinced them I was dangerous. Then I woke up 7 years earlier, in my old bed, in my old house, with my husband Daniel snoring beside me, and the morning sun cutting through curtains I'd forgotten we owned. I was 27 again. Emma was 2. Jake wasn't born yet, and I remembered everything. The first thing I did was cry. The second thing I did was start planning. In this life, Melissa is still my sister-in-law, still married to Daniel's brother Marcus. She's still beautiful, still charming, still the kind of woman who makes people feel special when she talks to them. She still volunteers at church and hosts book club and makes the best fucking lemon bars anyone's ever tasted. And she's still a sociopath. In my first life, it started small. A comment here, a suggestion there. Daniel works so hard, you should really make sure dinner's ready when he gets home. I saw Emma's teacher today. She mentioned Emma's been acting out. Are things okay at home? Little poisonous seeds planted in everyone's minds that I was failing. Then it escalated. She started inviting Daniel to family events without me. Oh, I thought you knew. It was just a small thing, didn't want to bother you. She bought Emma and Jake expensive presents, making my budget-conscious gifts look shabby. She offered to babysit, then told Daniel I'd seemed overwhelmed when I dropped them off. The affair started when Jake was 3. I didn't find out until a year later, when I came home early from work and found them in my bed. Melissa didn't even look ashamed. She just smiled at me with those perfect white teeth and said, "Don't be dramatic, Claire. This is what's best for everyone." Marcus divorced her 6 months later when he found out, but by then, she'd already sunk her claws so deep into Daniel that he chose her over me. They fought me for custody together. They had money. Marcus's divorce settlement had been generous to get her out fast, and they had character witnesses. Everyone loved Melissa. No one believed me when I said she'd orchestrated the whole thing. I lost my kids piece by piece. First weekends, then weeks, then everything. The last time I saw Emma, she was 9 years old, and she told me she hated me and never wanted to see me again. Melissa had coached her. I know, because in this life, I've seen how Melissa operates. I've had 7 years to watch her, to plan, to prepare, and I've been so patient. In this life, I changed everything I could change while keeping Melissa on the same path. I documented everything. I saw a therapist from day one. Not because I needed it, but because I needed a paper trail showing I was stable, proactive, mentally healthy. I joined Emma's PTA. I took parenting classes. I kept meticulous records of everything. And when Daniel started spending more time at Marcus and Melissa's house, when I saw the signs of the affair beginning, I divorced him first. I filed on a Tuesday morning with evidence I'd gathered over months. Text messages, receipts from hotels, photos I'd hired a private investigator to take. I asked for full custody. Primary residence, child support. I had a lawyer this time, a good one, paid for with money I'd saved from a job I'd started the day I woke up in this timeline. Daniel was blindsided. So was Melissa. The divorce was brutal, but I won. I got the house. I got the kids. I got child support that actually covered their needs. And I watched Melissa's face at the courthouse when the judge read the ruling. She wasn't smiling anymore. Marcus divorced her anyway. I'd made sure he got an anonymous tip about the affair. She tried to sink her claws into Daniel after that, but he was broke and bitter, and I'd salted that earth thoroughly. They dated for a year before he realized she was using him and left. Melissa was alone for the first time in her life. No husband, no money, no picture-perfect family, but she had kids. Oh, 2 boys, Tyler and Brendan, from her marriage to Marcus. Marcus got primary custody, but she got them every other week, just enough to maintain the image of being a devoted mother. She needed that image. It was all she had left. That's when I made my move. It was 3 years ago, at a family barbecue I'd hosted. I'd been civil to Melissa since the divorce. Polite, even. I never badmouthed her to the kids. I took the high road so thoroughly, I paved it with gold. She was complaining to me about how hard it was to manage Tyler's education. He was bright, but struggling in public school. The teachers didn't understand him. He needed more individualized attention. I'm actually homeschooling Emma and Jake, I said, like it was no big deal. Which it wasn't. I'd been doing it for a year by then, and they were thriving. Her eyes lit up. Really? How is it? Amazing, flexible. The kids learn at their own pace. Emma's already working 2 grades ahead in math. I watched her process that, watched her see the angle. I've thought about homeschooling, she said slowly, but I don't know if I could handle the curriculum planning alone. I took a sip of my lemonade. It's a lot of work, but so rewarding. Maybe, she tilted her head, gave me that smile that used to make me trust her. Maybe we could do it together. Homeschool our kids together, pool resources, share the teaching load. I pretended to think about it. That's an interesting idea. It would be good for the kids, she pressed. Cousins learning together, and it would be easier on both of us. Let me think about it, I said. I waited 2 weeks before I agreed. Long enough that it seemed like I'd seriously considered it. Short enough that she felt like she'd convinced me. The truth is, I'd been planning this since the day I woke up in this timeline. Homeschooling laws vary by state. In ours, you have to file a declaration of intent with the local school district. You have to maintain attendance records, keep samples of work, and submit annual assessments showing educational progress. If you follow the rules, the state leaves you alone. If you don't, things get complicated. I filed my declaration of intent the day Emma turned 6. I kept perfect records, attendance logs, portfolios of work, quarterly assessments from a certified teacher I paid to review their progress. I joined a homeschool co-op for socialization. I did everything by the book, and then some. When Melissa and I started our joint homeschooling arrangement, I helped her file her declaration of intent. I made sure she did it correctly. I wanted everything to look legitimate at the start. Then I watched her get lazy. It's who Melissa is, at her core. She wants the appearance of effort without the actual work. She wanted to be the cool homeschool mom, posting aesthetic photos on Facebook of the kids doing art projects, but she didn't want to actually teach. Our arrangement was simple. We'd trade off teaching days. Monday and Wednesday at my house, Tuesday and Thursday at hers, Friday flexible. We'd plan curriculum together, share expenses, coordinate field trips. For the first month, Melissa tried. She really did. She bought expensive educational materials, set up a beautiful learning space in her house. She posted constantly about our homeschool journey. But she didn't want to do the boring parts. The daily math drills, the reading comprehension worksheets, the science experiments that took hours to set up and made a mess. By month 2, she was asking if I could take the kids on her teaching days just this once because she had a headache, an appointment, a friend in town. I said yes every time. By month 3, I was teaching all 5 kids 4 days a week. Melissa had Fridays, and she spent them taking the kids to museums and parks and posting photos like she was teaching them every day. I documented everything. Every text where she asked me to take her kids. Every day she didn't show up. Every time Tyler or Brendan came to my house because Mom said she wasn't feeling well, I kept attendance records for all 5 kids, but only Emma and Jake's matched the legal requirements. Tyler and Brendan's records showed they were at my house, being taught by me, not their legal homeschool instructor. Melissa wasn't keeping any records at all. I checked. I asked her once casually how she was organizing her portfolio for the annual assessment. "Oh, I'll just throw something together from what we've done," she'd said, waving her hand. "How hard can it be?" She had no idea that the assessment required specific documentation, work samples covering every subject, attendance logs with dates and hours, a written evaluation from a qualified teacher. She had none of it. Meanwhile, I was building my case. I joined every homeschool Facebook group in our area. I became friendly with the woman who handled homeschool compliance for our school district, a sweet lady named Patricia who took her job seriously. I mentioned to Patricia in passing how wonderful it was that homeschooling gave kids individualized attention, how important it was to follow the guidelines so the state knew kids were actually learning. Some people think they can just coast, Patricia said, shaking her head, but the rules exist for a reason. Kids deserve real education. Absolutely, I agreed. I waited until we were 6 months into the school year, long enough that the pattern was established, the documentation clear. Then I made an anonymous call to the truancy officer. I didn't mention Melissa by name. I just expressed concern about children I'd seen who were supposedly homeschooled, but never seemed to do any actual schoolwork. I gave Tyler and Brendan's names. I mentioned I'd seen them at the park on school days, many school days, with no materials or structure. The truancy officer did what truancy officers do. He looked up the homeschool registration. He saw that Tyler and Brendan were registered with Melissa as their primary instructor. He called her. Melissa called me immediately, panicked. Claire, the school called. They're asking about attendance records. Do you have anything for Tyler and Brendan? Just what I keep for my records, I said. Showing when they're here, but that wouldn't count for you. You're their registered instructor. Silence on the line. What do I do? Her voice was climbing toward hysteria. Show them your records, I said calmly. Your lesson plans, attendance logs, work samples, what you've been keeping for the annual assessment. I haven't. She was breathing hard. Can't you tell them you've been teaching them? Melissa, that would be fraud. They're registered under your homeschool program, not mine. I'm just helping out as a friend. But you've been teaching them almost every day. Because you kept asking me to, but legally you're their instructor. You're responsible for the documentation. I could hear her crying. In my first life, those tears would have made me cave, made me help her, made me take responsibility for her failures. Not anymore. I'm sorry, I said, and hung up. The truancy investigation moved fast. Melissa couldn't produce records because she didn't have them. She tried to say I was teaching the kids, but I had documentation showing I was running my own separate homeschool program for Emma and Jake. Completely compliant, completely legal. I even had texts from Melissa acknowledging that she was their primary instructor and I was helping out when she needed a break. The truancy officer referred the case to CPS. That's where things got interesting. CPS doesn't mess around with educational neglect. They opened a full investigation, they interviewed the kids, they interviewed me, they interviewed Melissa. Tyler and Brendan, sweet kids that they are, told the truth. Mom didn't really teach them. Aunt Claire did most of the lessons. Mom took them to fun places, but they didn't do much regular schoolwork. The CPS worker who interviewed me was thorough. She looked at my records. Perfect attendance. So I detailed lesson plans, work portfolios that showed clear educational progress. And you've been teaching Tyler and Brendan too? She asked. Informally, I said, as a favor to their mother, but she's their registered homeschool instructor. I'm not qualified to be their primary teacher. I only have the legal authority to teach my own children. Why were you teaching them so often? I hesitated, played it perfectly. Melissa's had a hard time since her divorce. I was trying to help, but I made it clear the responsibility was still hers. I showed her the texts. Months of Melissa asking me to take the kids, me saying yes, but reminding her she needed to keep her own records. The CPS worker's face was unreadable, but I could see her taking notes. The investigation took 3 weeks. During that time, Melissa called me 17 times. I didn't answer. She showed up at my house twice. I told her calmly that I couldn't discuss an ongoing investigation. She tried to turn it around on me. She told people I'd sabotaged her, that I'd agreed to teach her kids and then reported her. But I had receipts, literally. Every text, every email, every conversation documented. The homeschool community that Melissa had performed for on Facebook turned on her fast. They took homeschooling seriously, and what she'd done, registering for homeschool but not actually teaching, made them all look bad. Patricia from the school district was particularly angry. People like her are why homeschoolers get a bad reputation. She said at a co-op meeting, "We follow the rules so our kids get real education." She just wanted to look like a good mom on social media. The final CPS report came back last week. Educational neglect, failure to provide appropriate instruction. They didn't remove Tyler and Brendan from Melissa's custody. Marcus had primary custody anyway. But they did revoke her homeschool registration and mandated the boys return to traditional school. Melissa was also put on a child welfare monitoring list. Any future CPS calls would be flagged with this history. And Marcus, protective father that he is, filed for full custody with supervised visitation only. Now I'm watching through my kitchen window as 2 CPS workers walk up Melissa's driveway. This is a follow-up visit, making sure the boys are enrolled in school like they're supposed to be. I wonder if she's kept up with that requirement. Somehow I doubt it. My phone rings. It's Melissa? I almost don't answer, but I'm curious. Claire, her voice is ragged. Please help me. With what? They're here again, CPS. They're saying I didn't enroll the boys in school fast enough. Marcus is filing for full custody. I'm gonna lose them. Melissa, I say quietly, you lost them the moment you decided being a mother was about looking good instead of doing the work. That's not fair. Do you know what's not fair? My voice is still calm, but there's steel underneath. Stealing someone's husband, turning their kids against them, standing by while they lose everything. Silence. You did that? She whispers. In the divorce. You remember? I remember everything. I take a sip of coffee. Daniel told you things about how I was struggling with Emma, how I was overwhelmed. And you used that. You turned it into a weapon. That was different. You tried to take my children from me. You tried to prove I was an unfit mother. You made me lose everything. You did. And you would have done it again if I'd let you. I can hear her crying. It doesn't move me. The difference between you and me, I say, is that I actually love my kids. I do the work. I teach them. I show up. I keep the fucking records. You just wanted the aesthetic. Please, she sobs. Please don't do this. I'm not doing anything, Melissa. You did this yourself. I just didn't save you from the consequences this time. I hang up. Through the window, I watch the CPS workers leave. One of them is shaking her head. Melissa is standing in her doorway, and even from here, I can see she's crying. I feel nothing. No, that's not true. I feel satisfied. In my first life, Melissa destroyed me slowly, methodically, with a smile on her face. She took my husband, my children, my stability, my sanity. She took everything and left me with nothing. In this life, I let her destroy herself. I didn't lie. I didn't falsify anything. I just stopped helping, stopped covering for her, stopped being the safety net that caught her every time she failed. And I documented everything. Emma comes into the kitchen, carrying a math workbook. She's 8 now, bright and happy and secure. She has no idea what I saved her from. Mom, can you check my work? Of course, sweetie. I look at her problems. Long division, which she's mastered weeks ahead of schedule. Every answer is correct. Perfect job, I tell her. Why don't you take a break and play with Jake for a bit? She beams and runs off. I pull out my record-keeping binder and note the completed assignment. Attendance logged, work samples saved, progress documented, everything by the book. My phone buzzes. A text from Marcus. Thank you for the recommendation for that lawyer. She's helping with the custody case. The evidence of educational neglect is damning. I text back, just want what's best for the boys. It's not a lie. Tyler and Brendan deserve better than Melissa's performative parenting. They deserve actual education, actual stability. With Marcus full-time, they'll get that. Another text comes in, this one from Daniel. Melissa called me crying, said you set her up. That's not true, right? I stare at the text for a long moment. Daniel, who cheated on me, who chose Melissa over me. Who would have helped her take my children if I'd stayed in that first timeline? In this life, I divorced him before he could do any of that. But he doesn't know what I saved him from. He doesn't know what he would have become. I type, I helped her homeschool her kids for months. She didn't keep the required records. That's not a setup, that's a consequence. He doesn't respond. I don't care. I have Emma and Jake, I have my house, I have my peace, and Melissa has nothing. Underscore 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 underscore. 3 months later, the custody hearing ends exactly as I knew it would. Marcus gets full custody. Melissa gets supervised visitation every other Sunday, 4 hours at a time. She shows up to the first visit late and leaves early. The supervisor notes it in her report. The boys are enrolled in a good public school. Tyler's already thriving. Turns out when you actually teach a kid consistently, they learn. Who knew? I run into Melissa at the grocery store. She looks like she's aged 10 years. Her hair needs touching up. She's wearing sweatpants and a stained t-shirt. She sees me and her face hardens. "You destroyed my life," she says. I pause with my cart. "No, I just stopped letting you destroy mine." "I loved those boys. Then you should have done the work." I keep my voice even. Love isn't just a feeling, Melissa. It's action. It's showing up. It's doing the boring, hard, unglamorous work of actually raising children. You're a vindictive bitch. Maybe, I shrug, but I'm a vindictive bitch whose kids are happy, healthy, and well-educated. Can you say the same? She looks like she wants to hit me. I almost wish she would. I have witnesses. It would just add to the pattern of instability that's already in her CPS file. But she doesn't. She just stands there, shaking with rage, while I calmly push my cart past her. At the checkout, I run into Patricia from the school district. She's heard about Melissa's custody situation, small community, word travels. "That whole situation was such a shame," Patricia says, shaking her head. "Those poor boys." "They're doing well now," I say. "Their father has full custody. They're in school, learning, thriving. Because of you," Patricia says warmly. "You tried to help and she took advantage, but you documented everything properly. That's what saved those kids." I smile. I just did what any responsible homeschool parent should do. Kept records, followed the law, prioritized education. More people should be like you. If only she knew. Underscore, 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 6 months later. I'm at Emma's piano recital. She's playing a piece she learned herself, mostly, with guidance from the online teacher I found. Homeschooling means we can pursue passions, dive deep into interests, learn at our own pace. Emma plays beautifully. The other parents applaud. I see Daniel in the audience. He came to support Emma. We have a cordial co-parenting relationship now. He pays his child support on time. He sees the kids every other weekend. He's dating someone new, someone who's not Melissa. After the recital, he approaches me. "She's so talented," he says, pride evident in his voice. "She works hard," I reply. "You've done an amazing job with them. Both of them." He hesitates. "I'm sorry about how things ended between us." I could tell him the truth. That in another life, another timeline, he betrayed me so thoroughly that it killed me. That I've spent 7 years making sure that never happens again. Instead, I say, "Thank you. I appreciate that." He nods and leaves. I watch Emma talking excitedly with Jake about her performance. They're happy. They're thriving. They're mine, completely and safely mine. And no one can take them from me. My phone buzzes. A text from a number I don't recognize. I almost delete it, but something makes me open it. "I know what you did. I know you planned this. I know you destroyed me on purpose." "Melissa?" I type back. "Prove it." 3 dots appear, then disappear. Then appear again, then disappear. No response comes, because she can't prove it. Every single thing I did was legal, documented, and justifiable. I followed every rule. I kept every receipt. I did everything right. The only difference between my first life and this one is that I stopped being nice to someone who was destroying me. I stopped helping someone who used my kindness as a weapon. I stopped setting myself on fire to keep Melissa warm. And I documented everything. Underscore, 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 underscore. A year later, I hear through the family grapevine that Melissa's moving away. Somewhere out of state, starting fresh, running away from the reputation she built. Tyler and Brendan are doing great. Marcus sends me photos sometimes. The boys getting awards at school, playing sports, smiling genuine smiles. They see Melissa during holidays, supervised visits that she actually shows up to now. Too little, too late, but at least she's trying. Emma is 10, Jake is 7. They're both reading above grade level, excelling in math, passionate about science. We take field trips to museums and nature centers. We learn through living. And every single moment is documented, filed, and saved. Because I learned my lesson, in my first life, I trusted people to be fair. I trusted that doing the right thing would be enough. I trusted that love and kindness would protect me. I was wrong. In this life, I protect myself. I document everything. I follow every rule, and I make sure everyone else does too. Not because I'm vindictive, but because I refuse to be a victim twice. Underscore, 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 underscore. 2 years later, I'm at the homeschool co-op when a new mom joins. Her name is Sarah. She's nervous, overwhelmed, unsure if she can really do this homeschool thing. It's a lot of work, I tell her honestly. You have to be organized. You have to keep records. Oh, you have to actually show up every day and teach. That sounds exhausting. It is, but it's also incredible. You get to see your kids learn and grow. You get to tailor education to their needs. You get to be there for every breakthrough. She looks uncertain. The key, I say, is documentation. Keep attendance logs, save work samples, follow the legal requirements. If you do that, you'll be fine. What if I mess up? Then you'll face consequences. But if you're actually doing the work, actually teaching your kids, actually following the rules, you'll be okay. She nods, taking notes. I help her set up a record-keeping system. I share my templates, my schedules, my resources. Because here's the thing, I'm not against homeschooling. I love homeschooling. I'm against people who use homeschooling as a prop, who register for it to look like dedicated parents but don't do the actual work, who put their kids' education at risk for aesthetics. I'm against people like Melissa. Sarah isn't like Melissa. Sarah actually cares. She's scared, but she's willing to work, so I help her, because that's what good homeschool parents do. We support each other, we share resources, we help each other succeed. We just don't cover for each other when someone's failing their kids. Underscore, 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 underscore. 5 years after my rebirth, I'm sitting in my kitchen again, drinking coffee, watching my children play in the backyard. Emma is 12. She's writing her first novel, a fantasy story about a girl who gets a second chance and uses it to save her kingdom. I wonder if she somehow knows. Jake is 9. He's building a complex Lego structure, narrating the story of the civilization he's creating. They're both brilliant, both kind, both happy, and they're both mine, safely and completely mine, with documentation to prove it. My phone hasn't rung with Melissa's number in years. I heard she got married again, some guy she met in her new city. I hope she's changed, I hope she's learned, but I don't really care either way, because she's not my problem anymore. I protected my children, I built a life, I learned from my mistakes, and if I had to destroy someone who tried to destroy me to do it, well, that's just good planning. I finish my coffee and go outside to play with my kids. Emma shows me her latest chapter. Jake needs help with an engineering problem. I help them both, because that's what mothers do. We show up, we do the work, we keep the records. And we protect our children from people who would hurt them, even if, especially if those people are family. Underscore, 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 underscore. 10 years after my rebirth, Emma is 17. She's applying to colleges with a homeschool transcript that's flawless. She's got test scores in the 99th percentile and a portfolio of writing that's already won awards. Jake is 14, already taking community college classes in engineering. They're both thriving. And I've never once regretted what I did to Melissa. Because here's the truth, she would have done it to me if I'd let her. In my first life, she did. In this life, I just beat her to it. I used the system the way it's meant to be used, to protect children who aren't being properly educated. Tyler and Brendan were being failed by their mother. Not because she was cruel, but because she was lazy, because she wanted the image without the work. I stopped enabling that. And yes, I knew it would destroy her. I knew she'd lose custody. I knew it would shatter her life. I did it anyway, because my children's safety mattered more than her feelings, because my peace mattered more than her comfort, because I'd already died once letting her destroy me, and I refused to do it again. Underscore 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 15 years after my rebirth, I'm 42 years old. Emma is in college, studying creative writing. Jake is in high school, planning to study engineering. I'm still homeschooling. I took on tutoring other homeschool families, helping them set up proper systems, teaching them how to document everything. I'm known in the community as the person who does everything right. The one who knows all the rules, the one who keeps perfect records. No one knows about my first life. No one knows about Melissa, about the revenge, about the calculated destruction of someone who tried to destroy me. They just know I'm thorough. And I am. Because I learned the hard way that kindness without boundaries is self-destruction. That helping people who won't help themselves is enabling. That sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone face the consequences of their choices. Melissa taught me that. And I made sure she learned it too. Underscore 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 20 years after my rebirth, I'm sitting in my kitchen again, drinking coffee, watching the sunrise. Emma is 22, a published author. Jake is 19, studying engineering at a top university. They're both happy, healthy, successful adults. And I did that. I protected them, I educated them, I loved them, and I destroyed anyone who tried to hurt them, especially family. My phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. Claire? It's Melissa's voice. Older, rougher, but still her. Yes? I wanted to apologize. For everything. I was wrong. I hurt you. I tried to take your kids. I was awful. I don't say anything. I've been in therapy, a lot of therapy. I understand now what I did, how I used people, how I destroyed you. Still, I wait. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry and that Tyler and Brendan turned out okay. Despite me. They turned out okay because of their father, I say quietly, and because someone stopped you from failing them. Silence. Oh, that was you, wasn't it? You planned the whole thing? The homeschooling, the documentation, the CPS call? I could lie, but what's the point? Yes. Why? Because in another life, you destroyed me. And I wasn't going to let you do it again. More silence. I don't understand. You don't need to. Claire, did I really hurt you that badly? I laugh. It's not a kind sound. You took everything from me, Melissa, my husband, my children, my sanity, my life. You did it with a smile. You did it while pretending to care. You destroyed me so thoroughly that I died alone and broken. You would have, if I'd let you. I saw the signs. I remembered. And I stopped you the only way I knew how. By destroying me instead. By protecting my children. You destroying yourself was just a side effect. She's crying. I can hear it. I'm sorry, she whispers. I know, but it doesn't change anything. Can you ever forgive me? I think about it. Really think about it. In my first life, I would have said yes. I would have forgiven her, tried to understand, tried to help her heal, and she would have used it against me. No, I say simply, I can't, but I can move on, and I have. I hope you're happy. I am. I'm glad. You deserve it. She hangs up. I sit in my kitchen, watching the sunrise, thinking about lives lived twice, and revenge served cold. I don't regret what I did. I saved my children. I saved myself. And if Melissa had to burn for that to happen, well, some people need to burn. Underscore, 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 underscore. I finish my coffee and start my day. I have lesson plans to write for the students I tutor. I have records to organize. I have a life to live, a good life, a life I built from the ashes of the one Melissa destroyed, and every morning I wake up grateful for the second chance I was given, not because I used it to be better, but because I used it to be smarter, kinder to those who deserve it, ruthless to those who don't, and I sleep peacefully every night, knowing that my children are safe.
Where did you find that? I
loved.
love Smang. I
That's
love
all that matters.
I love Smang.
That's everything.
Smang
if
is
the
so
price of
weird
that piece
and
was
silly to
Melissa's
me.
destruction,
I've loved it
It was a
for
price I'd
a
pay
long
1,000
time.
times over, without hesitation, without
Bits.
regret,
What are
without
our?
mercy,
I don't have
because
that.
I'm not the woman who
I think
died
it's
in that car
either
crash anymore.
420 or
I'm the woman who
69
rose
are the
from the
2 bit,
ashes,
the 2-bit
and I
redeem
protect
things.
what's
I
mine.
should have a list, shouldn't
Always.
I? I'm a bad streamer. I'm new to this. Jack, thank you so much. I'm sorry we're in ads too. Everybody. A fan of the syrup? What, the syrup? Scissorup? I saw I saw your hitty and assumed it said shrimping, and I'm disappointed it doesn't. You know what's so funny though? Hi, Lizard. It is a fourth wall. It's an item from fourth wall. And so I actually could probably make a hoodie very similar to this one. The problem is it would be really expensive. I think it's probably like a quite a it's like a nice quality. It's like fully got all of the we're back from ads. Jack, thank you so much. Thank you for the tip and thank you for the gift subs. Welcome. Thank you. That's really kind. I've never seen a streamer have a list posted anywhere of all their bit redeems. No, me either. Isn't that interesting? I never have either. Weird. Turquoise Jeep. Another banger. Or should I say a smanger? Okay, syrup. I don't think I've seen the syrup. I just, how you like your eggs, girl. Fried or fertilized. Disgusting. Hi, Dozing. Hi, Mel. I remember when there was just a few of us typing here, and you had no fancy lighting and no sound gear. I also remember the old camera. Oh my god, and the aliens before I got the PC. Now you have all these people talking to you. Oh, so I'll just say hello. I think you're amazing, and I hope you're doing well. Mel, thank you for being here since the good old days when there were just a few folks typing. Rudo as well, Rudo and True Blue, I remember, and that was so nice. Thank you, Mel. Thank you for being here and sticking around and all that good stuff. It's such a joy to have you here. I'd love to learn more about these days. They weren't that long ago. Bit over a year. Dreamer does seem like one of the good ones. Making individual actors bear the full emotional weight of ethical decision making. It's another vector of oppression. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Deflect scrutiny from the structural and corporate influences that create those behaviors. Yes. Yes. 100,000%. That's really, really true. Yeah. Very well said. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's like the fucking responsibility of recycling and all of that kind of thing. It's like, no, stop, like, put it on the people, put it on the consumer, put it on the everyday person, and then, the corporations and the systems don't have to take any responsibility for it. Are you on Raya? Me? No, I was, once upon a time. True Blue ran charades. True Blue did. It's true. True Blue was the boss. Don't blame us for it. Blame it on the boogie. Precisely. Working in the way of making even more profits. Right. The aliens. The freaking aliens, Mel. Oh my god. My camera would glitch out all the time because I was using... Well, it was my PC, I guess, wasn't it? Not my PC, my laptop. I was streaming on a MacBook. And I had 2 cameras and glitch. It would do like rainbow glitches. Another reason why I want Pinion to continue to succeed. I wasn't here early enough to say I remember when about the stream. But if you continue to grow in the way you hope, these days will be the early days too. Yeah. I love that. I believe these are the early days. Unless what Yon says is true and the whole internet collapses any day now. No, I think Twitch is such a lovely... I think of this like social media apps, I think Twitch is one of the good ones. It's really, it's